Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 5th day of February. Don't got a good show with you for tonight. I got a great show planned with you all for tonight. Got Jeffrey Deskovic coming up here in less than 5 minutes. Jeffrey's going to talk about these NBA trades. For those of you who followed this program here for the last year or so, maybe two, I want to say, Jeffrey's been a great guest and a heck of a NBA knowledgeable savant. This guy is, and you see him backstage. And of course, I've got Jason Patterson coming on the program 30 minutes past the hour, writes for the Kansas City Chiefs for Pig Trail Nation. I'm going to ask him about the Chiefs, and I'm also going to get his take on the Luka Doncic trade. It's a very big trade that goes through a lot of athletes from different sports. So step by. Let's take our first and only break. We'll be back here momentarily with Jeffrey Deskovic, and we'll hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to Sports, that is Sports with an S, another S, Scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All right, I'm back here live, and let me get the crowd ready. They love you, buddy. How you doing, man?
I'm great, Rob. How you doing, man? Great to be back on the Sports Scope, man. That's
I
the
appreciate
most
that.
influential podcast, right?
Yeah. The podcast always comes out after the program. If you're Apple, Spotify, whoever you have, anywhere pretty much where you get your podcast. And of course, it's on YouTube, Facebook, pretty much all over the place. And it's on National Streaming Sports Roku channel. Man, I've been dying to get your opinion of this. I don't even know how to start. Okay, first of all, what's your opinion? Luka Doncic traded for Anthony Davis Saturday night. Threw us all off guard. Man, I never in a million years thought this would happen. What's your thoughts, Jeffrey?
Yeah, I was completely shocked. I mean, first of all, Luka Doncic is look, Anthony Davis is an all-star. There's just no question. I think his days of being a superstar are behind him. He is an all-star, but the issue is that he can't stay on the floor. He can't stay healthy, I'm most effective when I'm playing the 4. Whereas he's tall enough to be the 5. I mean, that kind of turns me off a little bit. You don't like to bang in there. I mean, you need your big guys to bang. So, my point is Luka is a superstar. To me, he's clearly a top 5 player, if not number 3. In the league, even an argument that even a legit argument that he arguably is number 1 in the league right now. But these are the main players. So what Doncic is better than Anthony Davis. First of all, just looking at just player for player. But overall, Anthony Davis also is much more injury prone. I know Luka's had some injuries, this year, but overall, the length of their career, the only person whose health is worse than AD's that's a star is Kawhi Leonard. But then also, Luka Doncic, all things being equal, you can never predict a major, career-ending injury. But in general, in the NBA, those are, thankfully, those are few and far between. It's not like NFL where you can be, concussed your way out real quick. But my point is that Luka's still going to be like balling. He's going to be 31 in 6 years. Okay, in
That's
6
true.
years, I think that Anthony, I think AD is going to be out of the league. It's very likely to be out of the league. At that point, and if he is still hanging on, he's going to kind of be like, if you remember, I'm going to date myself a little bit here. Do you remember when Patrick Ewing agreed to come off the bench briefly? I think it was for Orlando. He did that, or captain's last ride. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Was that with Orlando?
No, well, Kareem was with the Lakers. The Pat was with the Orlando Magic. He came off the bench. I mean, to me,
that was a blurry. What about the weight issue, Jeffrey? They said he was ballooning. Yes, Jane. This is live tonight. It's the 5th. I've showed a lot of replays. His weight was between 260 and 270. He's coming in out of shape every year. That's what the argument for trading him. Do you believe that's the main thing, or you think there's something else we don't know about with Luka for this trade?
I have to believe that there's something else we don't know about. In prep for tonight, I did see an interview where, Luka denied that he would not have accepted the max deal that could have offered to him, the 346, 350 million deal.
Yeah.
He denied that he was not going to sign it. I mean, who wouldn't sign that? It's a good situation for him. I mean, they've had playoff success. Of course, last year, just short of the ultimate success. I mean, they did better than every team in the league except for the Boston Celtics, right? That they lost to in the finals. So I think it's more than that. I mean, look, I get that he doesn't condition, as well as they want. That being said, Luka overweight is still giving you between 28 to 30 points per game.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't buy in as much in terms of the criticism of him that he doesn't play defense. I mean, I felt like last year he made more of a commitment to play. I think he played better defense last year than he has in years gone by. Is there still more to be desired from him on the defensive end of the court? Yeah, obviously there was and is.
Yeah.
That having been said, I mean, how many, to use a more common term, how many other one-way players has the league known? Carmelo Anthony, as comes to mind when he was in his heyday. Wasn't much of a defender. Damon Stoudemire used to regularly light up point guards just as often as he got lit up, and he often received as good as he got. So that was usually
a lot of those former Suns in that era usually didn't they? Including Steve Nash, Jeffrey.
Including Steve Nash. Yeah, that's exactly right. So my point is that, defensive, ability at the rim defense, even with that being wanted some, I don't think, number one, my arguments against that are he played better defense last year. And number two, I don't think that's a reason to, I don't think it's a reason to trade him. I don't know why you would trade him right now either. I mean, because what was the rush? I mean, they could have and should have gotten a much better, package, back
more
for him.
First round picks. Yeah.
First round, or even players that can contribute now. I mean, just as a hypothetical. I mean, what if I think if they would have traded him to Golden State, for example, if they could have traded him for Wiggins, Kuminga, and maybe another player or a pick or something, that would have been a more desirable package because you're still getting players. I mean, look, Wiggins has a lot of ball left in him. I just don't think it's in Golden State, but he could score. He can give you 16 to 20. Kuminga has a lot of potential. So these are players, who's shown flashes. So these are players that could have given them, something right now and still gotten a pick or two. I think that could have. I think that would have been. They might even have been able to get they might even have been able to get Draymond Green in that. You know,
what about
so
Giannis? You think they would have got Giannis? Possibly.
I think they could have gotten Giannis. I think they could have got Giannis for him. Yeah. If I was Milwaukee, I'd take Luka for Giannis. I would have done that because I mean I feel like Luka's like a triple. He's a triple double. I mean threat. Every night. And Giannis is certainly going to give it to you scoring and rebounding. He's not. If he gave you 3 or 4 assists in a night, that's great. He's not going to hit 7 to 10 or more like Luka is. He's not going to pop from 3 either. Yeah. So my only point in giving this one hypothetical trade is I'm saying, well, you could have did this and that's therefore your grade was a failure. My point is that I feel as though they should have and could have gotten a whole heck of a lot more back. Than what they did. Yeah.
Does Dallas win a championship from this trade, Jeffrey?
Another reason why this trade doesn't make sense, and I'm going to come right back to that question.
Sure.
I like Dallas's big men. I like Gafford. I love Gafford. And
Lively's money.
And Lively is just that. He's he's a
great name for a player. Yeah,
great name for a player. Yeah, but like AD is like got more mass and appears to be like stronger than both of them. So what? You're going to have your bigger, stronger player at the 4 and have them at the 5. I mean, that doesn't really make much sense to me.
Okay.
Another thing is, at the end of the game, I mean, who would you rather take the last shot, Doncic or AD? I'm not taking AD.
That's what I've been thinking. Who's going to take the last shot for Dallas? Is it Kyrie?
It's all about Kyrie. But then instead of bringing him in to play with Doncic, you've in effect brought him in to replace Doncic.
Interesting.
And again, Doncic to me is a much better player. He's better than Kyrie.
Of course.
Yeah. And he's younger. Right? What is Kyrie? Like 32, 33 something?
Yeah, he's in his early 30s. Yeah.
Right. Sure Doncic is 25.
25. Yeah, I think it'd be 26 in a month. But still, that's super, super young. Now, I'll play a little devil's advocate. What's his name? Nico Harrison, this general manager for Dallas.
Yeah.
He made the move to get Kyrie. He made the move to get Lively in the draft. He got Gafford. He was involved in, and they've got to the finals last year. Is this the final move? I mean, that side of it makes it look like maybe this guy is onto something,
Well, I mean, I almost feel like they have to win it twice in order to justify this overall.
Yeah.
I don't know if you win it once, it was worth it. I mean, that was just like, I consider let me turn it around for a minute. Although you're the host, let me turn this around.
Of course, of course, man. It's a conversation.
Yeah. I don't think AD to the Lakers while winning one championship. I don't view that as like that was some sort of bonanza. Do you?
Well, as old as LeBron was getting at the end, I thought that was a win.
But even now, in hindsight, I'm saying in hindsight, though, I mean, the success of the trade and bringing him in, you got a championship out of it. But I mean, I expected a lot more from that duo than just ultimately winning one championship and winning one championship. Don't you?
Well, look at LeBron's age. I just didn't. The fact that LeBron went there for brand building and brand building first, winning championships second, and look at AD's injury history going back to New Orleans. I thought that was a good, even though it was a bubble win. A win is a win.
Correct.
and I'm not the biggest LeBron fan here lately, some of the stuff he's pulled over the years off the court, but I just, I thought that was pretty good. I don't know if Luka, I think Luka reminds me of Shaq in the 90s. Phenom of a player, had work ethic issues with the Magic, got to the finals with the Magic, couldn't win the finals with the Magic. The Lakers come in and basically steal him away. I think this could be a big wake-up call for Luka and his conditioning for him to potentially win a championship, but I don't know if he will because we don't know what Jenny Buss is going to do from 1 minute to the next. But Rob Pelinka, I got to give him credit, man. Just when you write him off, this one kind of fell in his hands, but you got to be prepared. They kept Kincaid. They kept Austin Reeves. And now there's rumors they may get Vucevic from Chicago. If they get Vucevic from Chicago, I think they have a good chance to win it in LA. But,
yeah, I do too. I agree with that. They would. Yeah, Pelinka, I give him a lot of credit for this. And to go back to your question, no, I don't think that Dallas wins the championship this year. Yeah. I don't think that they do. I don't even think that they come out of. I don't even think they come out of the West. Okay. I think maybe it ends for them in the second or third round. But as great as this is for the Lakers, I mean, in a way, I'm kind of looking at this. I know this is going to sound crazy because again, we're talking about a top 3, top 5 player that they swapped out. Maybe somebody in the top 24. Yeah. I almost feel like this is a rebuild move because I think they're thinking about when LeBron retires, which is why they speculated in a year that they've got a LeBron type player to replace him. But I don't know how they can how are they going to coexist? They're both ball dominant.
They're like the same guy, small forward, ball dominant.
Yeah, exactly. They're both. Yeah, I mean, Luka can play the 2. I mean, could play the 3, but they have to have the ball with them. LeBron can obviously shoot from the outside, but he's not a spot up shooter. I mean, I don't see how this is actually gonna. I don't see how this is gonna work. I think that they might be too similar to really. Play together. I mean, what are your thoughts on that aspect of it?
That's true. That's exactly what I've been thinking about since a friend of mine sent me this at midnight Saturday night, and I was woken up to use the restroom. I thought he was joking around. It was fake news.
Yeah, right.
And then I go back to bed. I'm thinking to myself, these are the same ball dominant players, like to be the lead assist man. LeBron usually can adapt to anybody, Does Luka play off the ball a little bit more? Do they alternate? If it's me, I have the younger guy finish because LeBron's legs are going to be shot in the fourth quarter, and you've got J.J. Redick, a first-year coach, managing it. That's typical Lakers, though, right? Total chaos.
It is typical Lakers. I like the idea of let the younger guy try to take over in the fourth quarter. But the question is, is he still as engaged in the game by then? Since LeBron has had the ball before before that, and every other
a receiver don't get the ball early.
This could be. I'm going to date myself even more. Okay, yeah. All right. This almost might be. Do you remember when the Lakers got Magic Johnson, and one time Magic's bringing the ball down, and then Norm Nixon bringing it down the other time? I mean,
yeah, I watched it in that show. Remember the TV show about the Lakers that took place in that first year with Magic or second year, right? I remember. I remember watching it through the series, and
that didn't work.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. I tell you, I don't know if either one of these teams win a championship. The more I think about it, I do think Dallas has a good shot this year, though.
Yeah, I think that. I do. I think that they're in the hunt. I mean, if if they had to play against Denver, I mean, I would consider Denver to be a favorite in the series, wouldn't you? I don't know that.
I got to see how this works. I don't know this Nico Harrison guy. You have to have the nerve of steel to pull this off. He must have some vision right here. But, he does help out defensively. AD is ultimate rim protector. But where do you make up the points for Luka, the points that Luka put in there? So
AD's he's not going to offset it by himself. AD will not offset all the points by itself. You still lost 10 to 12. You still lost 10 to 12 points.
Right. And then you got Kyrie's an older player. This could really come back. And I'll tell you what, if they don't win in the next few years, I think that the fans are wanting that general manager to get out of town.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people are unhappy with him, by the way. They've
already got their receipts put back. They've got their money back for some of the season ticket holders for it. I'm not as down on it, though. I think that this is a blessing in disguise for Luka. Let me get your thoughts on this thought. Jimmy Butler trying to push himself out of Miami. He's been suspended. Zion Williamson's constantly out of shape. The ratings are way down. The commissioners wanting to shorten the game. Talking about Adam Silver, talking about shortening the games. You just get this really slothful league where load management's been a problem for years now. This feels like a B-12 shot to the league. This kind of shook everything up. What are your thoughts about that aspect of it?
Yeah, it definitely shook. It definitely shook everybody up, and indeed, nobody is safe anymore. You can't know that you won't be traded. I mean, shortening the game, I think would be terrible.
Me too. Me too.
I think that, but there's some other interesting things that I still think we're going to see a couple of more major moves. I mean, it's hard to believe that Miami is going to stay with Jimmy Butler for the whole season. Right. Rumors around that
4 hours for that one. Yeah.
Yeah. There were hours from that he may end up in Phoenix, but that if the Suns aren't able to get him, that there might they were talking about a possible reunion between Kevin Durant and Golden State.
Okay. Well, he shot that down today. Durant said it's either Miami or stay. I don't know if he's got some kind of non-trade clause or whatever. Got to get your thoughts, though. De'Aaron Fox has this vision that Wembanyama is going to take him to the promised land. I'm kind of with Fox there. That trade got happened. Do you see this possibly turning into a championship in 3 to 5 years for Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox with the projection, Jeffrey?
Yeah, I do. I do. I mean, look, he's like a better version, and he reminds me a lot of Tim Duncan, except that I know it's crazy to say this, but I think Wemby has more tools than Tim Duncan, and when's the last time you could say that? But yeah, I do like that trade for them. I could see them. I could see them making a deep playoff run, in future years. But the West is so deep, it's a killer over there.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why the Knicks have so many losses.
Yeah.
I mean, they got Cat putting up, playing out of his mind, not folding, not withering under the bright street lights of Madison Square Garden, and of course the name was leaving me. The point guard they got, the name was just leaving. Yeah, Brunson. Who can say enough about him since he blew up coming to New York? So not wilting under the lights, but yet somehow losing all these games despite Mikal Bridges, despite OG Anunoby. I don't see why they have all these losses. I mean, I feel like they could beat anyone and that they could lose to anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I was going to ask you, do you think they should add somebody in there? Should they add a defensive specialist or
I
bench
think
player?
Yeah, I think that yeah, I do think that what might be a really intriguing deal. I don't know if they would want to do it because it's in division. Although trading players to a divisional opponent that's more of a taboo thing in the NFL than it is in the NBA. But what about Mikal Bridges to Miami for Jimmy Butler?
Well, he did used to play under. He did used to play under the same coach for Nixon. His name's slipping my mind too.
Yeah, but look, I mean,
maybe. I mean, Bridges is a younger player, but you're trying to win now in New York.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like you. I'm a little surprised that what are they sitting at? I want to say they're sitting at like a 4 seed. I thought they would be a 1 or 2 myself.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. I did too.
Yeah, I mean, they're sitting there. Well, they're at the 3, but you've got Cleveland with 40 wins, Boston with 35. I mean, they're 2 games out of second place. The Knicks are doing pretty good. I guess the bar was raised so high.
But look at the losses. But look at all their losses. I mean, they're like 20 something and 20 something. I mean, it is a lot of losses there.
Yeah.
If you pull up the exact record, just to be scientific about it. But
yeah, 17 for the Knicks.
17 losses for the Knicks, right? And
15
how many
for Boston. Cleveland's unbelievable. I don't know, Chad. I guarantee you he's not going back to Miami. I've done read too much on that Jimmy Butler thing. I think Jimmy Butler would be a good fit in Denver or Minnesota as a role player. He's 35 now, Jeffrey.
Yeah, that is true. Well, yeah, but do you think you think his days of being a star are over?
Yeah, I think his heavy minute days are over. I think he's got to play second fiddle to a guy like a Joker or Edwards.
I think if he goes to a place where he could be the number 3 guy, I think.
3, there you go. He don't have to be a 6 man, but I would like him to be a 6 man.
Yeah, I would like him to be a 6th man, but I'm saying if he was the 3rd leading scorer or 3rd best player on a team, I still think that's a really solid player. Jimmy Butler is going to. Well, look, the rumors are hot and heavy about Phoenix. There's some rumors that Golden State might be interested, but I don't think that trade makes any sense for Golden State.
There's some wild cards in there. A lot of guys don't want to go to Golden State. I mean, they're like at the 11th seed or something like that.
Yeah, they are. They're like 1 game over 500. I mean, they're not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the Kings have already traded their guy away. They're a game ahead. Got to get your pick on this Super Bowl. It's went out so fast. I know it's a lot to cover. Maybe I'll bring you back, buddy, if something big happens.
I would love for you to do that. Yeah, I was actually just thinking, hey, I gotta wait for him to pause for a second. We got to get the Super Bowl thing in.
It's huge.
It is huge. It's a Super Bowl, right? It's a Super Bowl. It is what it is.
People, Jeffrey.
Okay, so my prediction is I believe the 3-peat will in fact happen. Okay. I'm still going with Kansas City. I mean, look, there's the revenge factor. Of course, they took a Super Bowl loss to them, a couple of years ago. But I feel like Kansas City had a stronger team this year. I feel like than what they were last year. So I feel like Jalen Hurts was much better when they met in the Super Bowl. He was a much better player than now. I almost feel like they're winning because of stars around him and contributions he makes, to be sure, but not him being the X factor as much as he was before. So I think that the Chiefs are going to win.
Wow. And what's his name? Godly. Pat Riley's worked out something with the NFL where the 3-peat, speaking of the Lakers, going back to your 80s Lakers that he copyrighted or whatever, he's worked that out where they can use those shirts or whatever or material if that happens. Apparently, they've already got some stuff printed up. What's the score, Jeffrey?
Wow. I think that it's Chiefs 30, Eagles 27.
Okay. 3027. I've got your organization at the bottom of the screen. Anything real quick that you want to plug?
Just the foundation has a number of cases in play that we're working on exonerating people. We're really close to winning Daryl Whitley case, and then a couple of other cases. Eliseo De Leon was in the news. We're about to come out with some more news coverage this time pertaining to John Divine Whitfield, whose character is being played by Coleman Domingo in the critically acclaimed film that's making rounds now. Called Sing Sing, so check that out. So,
okay,
Foundation's continuing to work on exonerating wrongfully imprisoned people.
All right, Jeffrey. Hey, buddy, enjoy the Super Bowl, and I'm pretty sure I'll bring you back, especially if the Knicks make a big move tomorrow.
Especially then, we should definitely do a post Super Bowl show too.
Yes, you contact me, buddy. Thank you, man. All righty then, I'll move in Jeffrey from the studio. This is a new thing. And then I'm bringing up from Pig Trail Nation, Jason Patterson. Let me hit the... What's up, buddy?
Okay, so I got breaking news for you. Jimmy Butler has been dealt to the drum roll.
Yeah.
Golden State Warriors.
Oh, he said he didn't want to go there, Jason.
He has been dealt to the Golden State Warriors for Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Anderson, and a protected first round, according to Shams of ESPN.
Do you think he's going to show up? Because he said he didn't want to play for Golden State. I was just talking about that with Jeffrey.
It all depends on what Steve Kerr can say to him, what Steph Curry can say to him, what Draymond Green says. Have to see. Hold on just a second.
You must be on the X out, dude. This must have just happened, brother.
It did. It did. Literally the last 5 minutes of your previous host or guest that was on, Shams broke it right then and there.
Okay, I'm looking. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Jason's not lying. And Chad was saying breaking news. Chad must be on the X app.
Yeah.
Hey, I love that guy, Shams. He's the new Woj now.
Check this
Woj
out.
Is out. He's Top Gun now. Remember Top Gun?
Oh, I love that.
When the guy went out and he looked at Maverick, he says, "You're Top Gun now."
It's the truth, too. It really is. There was pursuit with Miami and Kevin Durant. At the 11th hour, and they cooled off on that. My guess is because Golden State came through with a package that was a little bit more appealing to them. So that's I think that's where what happened there over the last
good
hour.
For Miami, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I think it does.
You got some young energy there, man.
I mean, you've got some experience with Wiggs. You've got Schroeder, which is a solid point guard that's been tested over time. Kyle Anderson is a definite glue guy. And protected first round.
Yeah.
So I mean, kid that grew up in the Spurs organization.
He sure did. Wow.
But
I know it's going to happen. I said I guarantee. I know it's going to. They don't want to look at Butler no more. I mean, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Man, you got me all amped up there, brother. You got me amped up.
Hey, now that Knicks team, I know that they're third right now in the East, but this is the best team that they've had in a decade. And the reason why I think with them having 17 losses right now has to do with the fact that their starters are averaging 34 minutes a game. 34, 36.
Typical of
that's Tom Thibodeau's.
Yeah,
that's his whole calling card.
He needs to get those his bench players more minutes, and that's been my knock on Thibodeau the whole time.
Yep.
You got to coach all 10. You can't coach just the starting 5 or 12, however most teams go, 8, 10 deep.
Yeah, usually.
Man, that's good stuff. We could start this thing backwards. What do you think about that, since we're in the NBA, about that Doncic trade? Jeffrey seems like he was a little down on it. I don't know. That's a big defensive piece you just added with Anthony Davis there, but it does leave out the points. What's your thoughts on that trade? Man, what a big trade that was.
Well, here's some interesting tertiary happenings with that trade. Is that ESPN picked up the Lakers game tomorrow at 3 because that is going to be the very first game with Luka in a Lakers jersey.
I thought it was going to be Saturday.
Saturday,
really?
Yes, Saturday at 3 p.m.
Okay.
They're going to air that on ESPN. Arkansas's game now has moved back from 7 to 7:30 against Alabama here because of that game.
I'll record that, and that's Central, right?
Yeah, Central. It's just a ripple effect. How much the spider web of this whole entire trade has really affected not only the NBA but now college basketball too.
And these college games are good. They're good. That Arkansas Kentucky game was good. The quality of play in college has been way up the last 2 years, particularly this year. What are your thoughts on the trade itself? Just overall, man.
I wonder, and I seem to think that this is not more of a basketball trade, but a personnel trade, in that the Mavericks are kind of taking back control of the organization, and they're like the player empowerment movement, I think, is starting to crumble a little bit. And I think that
good take. Yeah.
We saw with Jay Kidd and Nico at that press conference.
Yeah.
One guy was happy and the other guy looked like he had just got kicked in the junk. I mean, seriously. Jay Kidd had it almost looked like the program, for instance, whenever he got rid of one of the players they wanted to keep, and they had no say so at all.
Yeah.
I would think that was Jay Kidd right there in itself. He wanted to keep Luka. He knew what he had in Luka. And now you're bringing in Anthony Davis. Don't get me wrong. There is not going to be honestly, there probably is an upgrade in defense, but the thing is that now you don't have any. I mean, you got some perimeter scoring, but now you've got folks like, Kyrie Irving that are wanting out now, that have requested
Irving wants out.
There was rumors out there that he's requesting a trade now.
Man.
So now it's kind of like, okay, what are we going to do here?
Something now, Nick, I don't understand why people are so down on Harrison. Look at the trades he made to get them in the finals. He made some bold moves the last few years.
PJ Washington, man. Daniel Gafford.
I love PJ Washington. I forgot to bring him up. That could be your main scorer. That guy could probably be the one to take the last shot because of his youth.
Yeah.
Going late in the playoffs, because we don't know if Kyrie will be, kind of having a nagging injury or not. I'm not totally out on Dallas not winning this thing, this trade.
Well, I mean, they may not be the best team in Texas.
Oh, because of Houston. And they're I saw that game with Memphis last week. I'm telling you, man, it was toe-to-toe with that. And it was just a great game. I mean, you got De'Aaron Fox now with San Antonio. And I'm going to tell you what, R.C. Buford just fleeced Sacramento. Fleeced them. Man.
You didn't get Jeremy Sochan. You didn't get Keldon Johnson. You didn't get Devin Vassell. And now you're adding De'Aaron Fox to play in front of Chris Paul. Now Chris Paul sits on the bench, and now he can learn from him while Pop recovers. Now, don't know if he's going to come back to the bench.
I think he'll retire. But they got good assistants. Ime used to coach for the Spurs. Do you see them winning? I think that they're championship worthy in the next 3 to 5 years. I mean, I'm with everybody else. I think this Victor Wembanyama thing his trajectory is on schedule.
Is what he is. He is the real damn
deal.
So
you do think, okay. So you're right there with me then on that one.
Yep.
Does the Lakers does Luke ever win a championship with this Lakers team?
Yeah, I think he does.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be post LeBron too. That's going to be a little bit of a bold statement, but I think it's going to be post LeBron. Now they're going to the Lakers are going to save some money because, I mean, do you offer Luka a max deal now? Because he can't get a super max because he just left Dallas.
That's the team that drafted you. He gets a super max. Okay, gotcha. Yep.
So he forfeited. I mean, that's what the Mavericks said was, hey, we're not going to give you the chance to get a super max because now we don't like the way that you're doing business. And now that's showing other NBA teams you don't have to be tied to that guy that you drafted for a super max if it's not going the way you want it to.
Are you okay? I think that was a legit concern. I'm reading up to 270 he was at one time. He looks out of shape every year, and that's just my opinion. I love the guy. I followed him since day one, too, but he does look chunky, man, and I think when you're out of shape like that, you're more out to get injured, man, you know?
Yeah. And these organizations are not paying him that much money to get back into shape through games to get ready for April. That's just the end of the story. I mean,
Shaq got away with that for years.
Sure did. Yeah.
Doesn't he remind you a lot of Shaq? Super talented, got to the finals with one team. The Magic did not want to pull the trigger on that hunt. Now, this was 1996. $100 million was a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
And the Lakers came and just grabbed him, dude. And it's so ironic. They're so much alike, except there's about 4 inches difference and maybe 80 more pounds. Diesel, baby.
That is so true. That is so true.
The Diesel, but he's more skilled than Diesel was.
Yep. But I think that, this whole thing in Sacramento, for instance, is not going to be good. You got Domantas Sabonis, which is a scorer. You've got DeMar DeRozan, that's a scorer. Zach LaVine, that's a scorer. You got Mike Brown, head coach, that is a defensive coach, and there is not a
I thought they fired him last year.
Was it? Oh, yeah, that was. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
I wasn't okay with that, but they were in a slump,
But there's not going to be a stitch of defense played on that team. And they're averaging 122 points a game given up over the last 4 games. And now you add Zach LaVine.
I forgot about
De'Aaron Fox was the defensive dude for you.
That'd be like the Kings of old, man.
Yeah.
Score 125, give up 132.
That's Peja Stojakovic days right there and Vlade Divac, man.
Those were fun times, though.
Oh, yeah. Those huge rivalries between them and the Lakers in the West. Basically, it was going to see who got out of California that was going to the finals.
You remember that 02 Western Conference final? That was one of the best conference finals I've ever seen. And it tore me up to see that Kings team lose. So I hated that Laker. I mean, God rest his soul, but as a player, I couldn't stand Kobe. Mm-hmm. I just didn't like him. I thought he was cocky. He wasn't appreciative of Shaq. Now I found out that Shaq was playing himself into shape more.
Yeah.
And coming in out of it. But Kobe was a jerk, man.
And that's the thing, too, is I think that with Kobe, folks do
Mike
also.
Bibby. Yeah, Carlos.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Mike ran that point, too. Yeah, kid out of Arizona. Arkansas played Mike Bibby. Him and I think it was Jason Terry.
Won the national championship 97, Jason, over Kentucky. And I love that Kentucky team.
That was a great team. Lute Olson had a hell of a team that year.
Lute Olson, yeah.
He did.
But any thoughts on well, we've got it all covered. We got that basketball covered here. What do you think about? Do you have any Chiefs news, by the way? I always want to ask.
Yeah. Yep, sure do. Kansas City only had 3 people on the injured list this week.
Okay.
2 of them were full participants, which was Pat Mahomes and
cool.
I can't remember off the top of my head. He was a full participant. It's just because of that high ankle sprain. It's nothing that's going to be too worrisome at all. Give me just 2 seconds here. I can pull that up.
Yeah.
Juwan Taylor, knee, full participant. The only one that's going to be probably out. I mean, now he is practicing, but there's just really no room for him right now. That's Sky Moore. He's on IR. I don't think he's going to get activated. The thing that I did notice, though, is that the Eagles have got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 players on the depth or on the injured chart. Jalen Carter, defensive tackle, limited participant. Kenny Gainwell was limited participant. So was Brandon Graham. He's on the IR. I don't think he's going to play. Devontae Smith came up with the hamstring from 2 weeks ago as a limited participant. I think that he's going to be a full go. I think they're just being a little bit more cautious with him going into this week.
Interesting. He's been going back for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Are you surprised that the executive ref for the NFL actually put out a statement about the Chiefs getting favorable calls?
Well,
they got rabbit ears, don't they?
They do. I'm telling you. Not only do they have rabbit ears, they have unlimited lives. It seems like every time this story starts to die down, somebody on social media that wants to stir the pot a little bit brings it right back up, because it's the narrative. And I fully believe this because I put this out there, and it's kind of a play off of the Christopher Nolan Batman, that you see yourself the hero, and if you're good enough for long enough, you eventually become the villain, just like Tom Brady. And I think that's where Patrick Mahomes is at right now.
Yes.
Everybody's just tired of it.
People are fatigued. And you listen, man, I come from that school. If you want to beat the man, be the man. You got to beat the man.
Exactly.
We just talked about those Laker teams in 2002 with Shaq and Kobe. There were dynasty. I didn't care for. The only dynasty I really liked was two of them. The Cowboys in the 90s, because we didn't have a team until late 90s.
Yeah.
And the Bulls, because we didn't have a team here in Tennessee. Definitely didn't have a team here in Tennessee during that time. But all the other dynasties I didn't like because they wasn't my team. I didn't like those Patriot teams.
No.
But I respected them. You know, I don't want to say the league's cheating for them.
There's a lot of parallels between the run with New England and the run with Kansas City.
Unbelievable parallels.
Because it seems like they don't overpower teams. They just find that last little bit of a crevice to get to victory. You know, for instance, and I'm gonna give you more info on what I'm about to put out there.
Yeah, go ahead.
It seems like if you have a team that has a great running back that's going up against Kansas City, Spags finds a way to stop them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go over that in just a minute.
Sure.
But you have Saquon Barkley, 2,000 yards. He's 39 yards away from being passing Eric Dickerson, or not Eric Dickerson. I'm trying to think who that was. Hold on just a second.
The most in NFL history throughout the whole season and the playoffs.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Playoffs and regular season. Yes. Was that Terrell Davis? I think.
It might have been Terrell Davis.
I think
they won the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Yes, I think it was Terrell Davis. I'm gonna have to go back there and take a look. Anyway, so what the point I'm making is that Kansas City has that last little bit where this is what I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen in the fourth quarter, last 5 minutes.
All right.
There is going to be a point where Kansas City is going to be at a 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. Patrick Mahomes is going to drop back or get the ball in the shotgun. He's going to fake a handoff. Defense is going to break down on one side or the other, and he's going to scramble for a first down. It's going to keep a drive alive. That is going to give Kansas City either the tying score or the winning score, because that's happened in the last 2 Super Bowls. It's going to happen again.
It has.
Look at last week.
A lot of their games at the end.
It does. It does. And it's going to be a 1-score game. And Kansas City is going to go down, and they are going to either put pressure on Philadelphia to make a stop, or Kansas City is going to end up actually scoring and taking the game. I think Kansas City is going to win a really weird game. Last time they played the Eagles, it was very clean. 38-35. Kansas City scored the last 4 possessions of that second half, first time ever in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I think that this one's going to be a little weird. I'm going to say Kansas City 29, Philadelphia 25. Woo! Or sorry, 29-24. Sorry.
29. I'm recording all these scores here. Now, my guest on Monday, Jamie Pags, the Philly sports guy. Now, he's a super fan. He's a smart guy. Guy. Been around for a long time. He thinks that the defensive line is so good right now for the Eagles that they're going to overpower that offensive line, and he thinks the Eagles are going to win by 2 scores.
Okay.
Potentially. We'll see. Here's an interesting stat. John Gruden, of all people, on his show brought up. John Gruden says Vic Fangio, defensive coordinator for the Eagles, 0-7 against Patrick Mahomes, 28 points average between Denver and of course Miami as the defensive coordinator. I guess, but there's a lot better personnel on this team than those teams defensively. How much of a weight is that on Fangio, or is that just a personnel thing? What do you think about that stat? That's really daunting.
Well, if you think about it, if you go back to the Super Bowl 2 years ago when they did play Philadelphia, Vic Fangio was brought in at the last second as an analyst for Philadelphia to try to stop Patrick Mahomes, and they still scored 38 points.
That's a dinger right there. I didn't know that. Really?
Yep, sure did. So now you got, like I said, Saquon Barkley leading the league in rushing. The last two league leaders in rushing that went to the Super Bowl lost. Last year was Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Year before, and then back in 2005 with Sean Alexander, whenever they lost.
Pittsburgh,
yes.
Yeah.
So
controversial Super Bowl there.
Speaking
of refs and flags.
It was. Yeah. But
interesting.
I think, here's the thing. Jalen Carter was listed as a limited participant today at practice.
That would be their big difference maker.
Yeah. So if they're not getting pushed in the middle, I mean, because listen, Kansas City's offensive line, they finally found something that mirrors a good offensive line finally. I mean, you had...
That's a lot of scrambling they had to do this year.
There was. Yeah. But this is the healthiest that Kansas City has been. 17-3 this season, or 17-2. But this is the healthiest that they've been. The wide receiver core is all healthy. I think that you might get a chance to see Hollywood Brown bust one. You might see DeAndre Hopkins bust one. I'm sorry to say that, Titans fans, but there's a possibility that you might see your guy go out there and shine for one night.
Man, that's what I hate that. He didn't play 60%. We did not get that 4th pick.
Nope.
That's okay. Yeah. I'll live. If you are Philadelphia, Jason, you've seen a lot of this team. What's your game plan on both sides?
So this is what I would do. And Patrick Mahomes eat you up in man. I would go back to playing zone against him and make those wide receivers find those spots. If my defensive line is good as what Philly says it is, and you play zone, you're going to be able to get pressure and make Patrick beat you with his legs. And that probably is going to be the biggest X factor, I think, in this game, because, Samaje Perine, Isaiah Pacheco, and Kareem Hunt all are healthy.
Yeah.
But you want to make Patrick Mahomes beat you with his legs and not his arm. And I think that's what they're going to try to isolate.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Cooper DeJean. Those are some excellent ball hawks and open field tackling guys. Yeah. Did you see that tackle Cooper DeJean, the rookie, made against Derrick Henry in the regular season? I mean, that dude is a great pick there. And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, I think he led the NFL, I want to say last year or the year before, in interceptions. They've got some ball hawks back there. That may be a great strategy. Just play a lot of zone.
Yeah.
And their only real weakness, to me, I think, Jason, is the Philadelphia's linebacking core. So that would be Noah Gray and, of course, Kels. I don't know, Kels. Maybe he shines again. I don't know. One last hoorah for Kels.
Well, and that's the thing, too, is that Travis Kelce really kind of shines in those big moments.
He does, man.
And the personnel on the offensive side of the ball for Kansas City understands that this isn't about me. This is about us. And so they're willing to give some of that spotlight to guys who are feeling it. Run decoy instead. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these guys just want another ring. And
they're going for history, yeah.
Three-peat. First time ever.
Yeah, and it really could. I mentioned the fact that my game plan would be to maybe get if I'm the Eagles offense against that defense. I want to see how healthy Devontae Smith is. If he's actually pretty healthy and all this is precautionary, he would probably be my lead guy because of Duffy. Yep. Do they play a lot of man or they play zone, or you don't know what Spags is going to do? How do you think it's going to go on that side, Jason?
So I think Spags is really going to mix it up. I think he's going to be playing some half, some 50-50 splits on back on safety, and then let the corners do what they do. I think they're going to see some exotic blitzes. I think you're going to see George Karlaftis kind of get in there, and him and Leo Chenal, they started to really come into their own last year at the end of the season. And they've had a great season going in throughout this really kind of a patch making season for the Chiefs. Because listen, this was supposed to be the year that the Chiefs were going to have to figure it out and not just, okay, we have a game plan. We know all the personnel we have. They were dropping like flies at the first of the season. And Brett Veach put together a great team on this field.
Sure did.
And then Andy Reid has executed it. You cannot say enough between him and Jim Nagy, because Jim Nagy has just done a great job. But on the defensive side, though, you were going to see a lot. I think you're going to see a little bit of a Bill Belichick approach, where you see something that you have never seen before on that first 2-3 series. As you think back whenever Buffalo played the New York Giants, and Jim Kelly was
back in the day. Yeah.
Back in the day.
1990, I think, 91.
91. And Bill Belichick came up with a 5 down lineman offense or defensive front that Buffalo had not seen before. And if you watch those first 2 series, Jim Kelly got wrecked.
Yeah.
It was a run and shoot, and they got wrecked. So I think that you're going to see not maybe a 5-man front, but I think you're going to see some blitzes that you have not seen this season that they've been working on ever since training camp.
Yeah,
that they're going to pull out of that bag on Sunday.
So if you're Philly's offensive coordinator, what's your game plan?
I would run it down your throat with Saquon Barkley. I would make Chris Jones. I would wear Chris Jones out, because that's one of the things that a lot of teams have not been able to do, because Kansas City does a good job of kind of bouncing him around between defensive end and inside tackle. I would run it at him first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, so that by the time fourth quarter comes up, he's blowing hard air. I mean, out of breath, wore out.
You would save Jalen's legs for the fourth quarter?
Yep.
You're talking 20-something carries for Saquon?
I would give him 20 to 25 carries by the fourth quarter. I would wear that defensive line out.
And the defense is good enough to keep you in the game where you could probably get away with that.
Yep. And that's why I think that the score is going to be a lot lower than what it was the last time whenever they faced off each other.
The defense has been better on both sides, it seems like, It
is. And Jalen Hurts had 304 yards passing the first time around. It wasn't like he was a scrub. I mean, he had a hell of a game.
Yeah.
But
boy, I bet he has nightmare. He don't say it publicly. That strip fumble that turned into a touchdown. You take that off and you probably you're the champs, right?
Heartbreaking.
And
he gets to redeem himself, or at least try to redeem himself.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, listen, Philly fans are hard on opposing teams.
Yeah.
And their fans. It's been well documented in the news, unfortunately.
Yeah, I got a fanatic I had on earlier.
But you also have this fan base that's also super critical of their own players. I mean, look at Donovan McNabb. Whenever he got drafted, they were chucking nickels and quarters at him on the draft stage.
Were they really?
Oh yeah. It was bad.
Going up in the Super Bowl. Now that T.O. made a big. Did you see that? I didn't see that. But the cameras didn't pick up on it. Supposedly he was throwing up in that last drive.
Yeah. That's what I'd heard too. But I mean, you have to go back and kind of take a closer look at that. But I think that Jalen Hurts, he had the same issue whenever he was at Alabama, where there was always somebody kind of doubting him. He had to get replaced against Georgia, and Tua came in there and did Tua things, and that was the end of that. and then he goes to Oklahoma. I mean, this Jalen Hurts has persevered so much throughout his collegiate and professional career. Now he has that time and that chance to say, you know what? I am the man, and I'm going to beat the man. I just don't know if he can.
That's true. He might have got all of his talent. Jason, that is awesome, brother. Got to have you plug. Now, you're with Pig Trail Nation.
Yes.
Plug whatever you need to plug, man. You've been great tonight, brother. Bringing that Jimmy Butler news from downtown.
Hey, man, I told you. I texted you this morning or this afternoon. I said, I'm bringing the heat.
I thought you had something from the Chiefs, but that was tight, brother.
I told you, man, I was bringing it tonight.
Look, Chad says y'all got me more excited about the Super Bowl. This is the best match. If you do player for player, Jason, don't you think this is probably the best? I would have said maybe Detroit, but they had all those injuries. Mm-hmm. I think this is probably the best matchup we could have rolled up.
It is. Whenever you look at the NFC and AFC, probably these are the two best teams that you could probably roll out there. I think, honestly, you could probably interchange Buffalo and Kansas City, maybe.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be a testament to what the Bills front office has done after all those hits they took in the offseason, having to unload all those contracts and still make it again to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Josh Allen probably should be, I'm going to say
we'll
probably.
We'll figure that out tomorrow. We'll find that out tomorrow.
Yeah, he should be the NFL MVP, I think, with the way. I know that everybody's comparing him and Lamar, but I really think that Josh Allen – on a individual level probably should win the MVP just by where they were able to go. But I write for Pig Trail Nation and also podcast for Hogville.net. Have a show every Thursday night on Hogville.net and on our YouTube channel. Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Torchy's Tacos. A little plug there.
On location. Yeah.
On location. And then on Friday mornings, we also have Arkansas Razorback baseball podcast that I do at 10:30 on Hogville as well. So, it's going to be fun. I'll be at Globe Life Field. First time to cover the Razorbacks at a Major League Baseball park in 2 weeks whenever they go down to Globe Life.
Man, Jason Patterson, everybody. Let me give you a sound. Have a good one. I'll try to bring you back, especially if they three-peat.
Hey, if they got a three-peat, I'm going to bring it. I'm going to bring it even more.
All right, brother. Thanks, man. Have a good night. See ya. All right, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow. Let me make this announcement real quick. Got a great comedian, Nashville comedian here tomorrow. Chrissy. Chrissy is so funny is her Instagram. Chrissy is so funny. Comedian here in Nashville. Very funny. Gonna have her kids on tomorrow. May ask them a little bit about the Super Bowl and whatnot, but I want to bring her on. Make sure and tune in to tomorrow for that as well. And, of course, tomorrow is the NBA trade deadline. We'll see what happens. So have a good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure and share the show here on the Real Sports Scope.